I was working, doing a couple of circuit administration jobs, which worked well around the family at the time, and actually gave up my 20-hour a week role at the Sunderland circuit in order to create some space. And I found I was just spending a lot of time just in silence. And I don't know, there was just something was going on during that time, and that went on for months. And I think I started to ask more questions. I suppose I progressed in my faith a little bit. Over those years, it went from being, I guess, what I've put very black and white, this is it, to a little bit more fuzzy, but in a good way. It just, God became more expansive, I guess, for me. And as I started to spend that time deepening that relationship, I felt called to a deeper community, a deeper sense of community. And I started to explore the Northumbria community at the time, and I started to spend a lot of time with their liturgy, a lot of time. And but there was just something going on where I felt like I needed that deeper sense of community and prayer and I think now looking back, that was the call to being part of a religious order. And the religious order wasn't the Northumbrian community, it wasn't the Iona, it was the Methodist diaconal order. I wanted to be in a space where I could ask the deeper questions, where I could feel that sense of belonging, where you lived in a more accountable way, kind of the real early Methodism kind of way, I guess. And that just kept coming up and up again. And I didn't know at the time about the diaconal order, and I didn't know that it was a religious order or anything. And it was through conversations that I found out more about that with deacons in Gateshead. And and it just really resonated with me and the rule of life and having that way of living that, I mean, when I finished my role at Sunderland, it was partly because I was just so overwhelmed and stressed out and too much, just I was on this treadmill that you can't get off. We all get there, don't we? And actually that rule of life was just so attractive that there was another way of living that was different to the narrative that the world is giving us, that there was something different. And to me, that's been a real key part of my call to the order, because I feel like as a representative minister, it's something that we need to model and represent, and it's a gift to the rest of the church. And so it's made me really think about what I'm called to over this time. And I think that the things that I've noticed are that my real heart is for inclusion, it's for belonging, it's for community, and it's for perhaps creating community spaces, and it's that kind of sense of that we have got something to offer that's countercultural as a church, as an order, in terms of the rule of life, but also in terms of offering community, offering spaces. I'm always looking in whatever shape or form for people that are on the edges, and I want to draw them in, and I want for them to feel value and God's love with them. And the same for creation. I think just the way that we live, creation and people need to flourish, and we often live counterculturally to that. Yeah. In Stirling Methodist Church at the moment, one of the things on our mission plan, which we've just gone through that process in the past 2 years, is outdoor church. We're looking at the fact that most people in that area live in flats and they don't have gardens, and there's a lot of mental health, addictions, and we're looking at what we can do, and this is going to be the autumn time now, in terms of what can we offer outdoors that's different, that taps into people's spiritual needs, that isn't expecting them to come into the church and sit through a hymn sandwich on a Sunday morning. Basically, we'll have somebody in the church who owns a farm, and I think we're going to try some stuff ourselves first to get our confidence up. Some things like, Lectio in nature, and we're just going to try some things to build ourselves up, I think, with the hope that we open that up as a space where people who are exploring can come and be, and just no pressure, just come along, meet God in the outdoors, and yeah, just no forcing. just an open community. That's the hope.